Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going over basic opening principles and just middle game principles, the beginning of the game, beginning stages, now that I've taught you how to move your pieces and how to checkmate. So you know the end of the game, the start of the game, and how to move the pieces now, and what you shouldn't be doing and what you should be doing in a chess game. I'm going to start off with going over 2 openings for white, 2 openings for black, telling you what I think about them and what their advantages are and their disadvantages by playing them. Let's start off with white playing e4, the most popular opening, e4, bring your queen out, bring your bishop out, allowing for those to come out. And e5 is the most common response that you'll receive. And then knight f3 is probably my favorite second move to play. Even if they play d5, I will still play knight f3, and they'll just get a free pawn. And it's a nice gambit, if you know what that is. It's giving away something at the start for a little bit of compensation to try to attack the opponent quicker at the start. So this is not a gambit. This is called the Ruy Lopez. This is the most played opening, or the Spanish game. This is the most played opening ever. Pretty much, either they'll play they'll play a6 here, or they'll play knight f6. This is the Berlin. In very, very top level chess, if you play this, you're pretty much just going for a draw, because everybody has played this so much that they know the exact moves of what they're supposed to do. But after a6 and you drop the bishop back, you can go b5. You can make them drop again. You can play knight out here. You can play bishop out. You can really play whatever you want in this position. And if they play something like knight f6 here, and you castle, you can play knight takes c4. You might think this is a little deep, but I'm just trying to go over the basic principles of this opening and why I think you should not play the Ruy Lopez. I do not think you should play this opening at the beginner level because there's too much that you need to learn about it. Like bishop f1 on move 6, I don't think you should learn 6 moves right after learning how to move the pieces. That's why I don't think you should be memorizing like different lines, because there's so many different things they could play and in different orders, and you have to learn why different things are good and different things are bad. So that's why I don't think you should play the Ruy Lopez. This is something I do think you should play, though. It's called the London system. After d4, so it's not the most popular, and they play d5. They can really play anything against this. They play e4. Your pawn is already protected. So the next move is bishop f4. This is called the accelerated London. You can play this, or you can play just the normal London, which is just c3 or c4, and knight out to here. But I do like bishop f4 the most. Knight out attacking this pawn, and now you play pawn forwards, concreting in this bishop here, and just opening up this bishop now to pin the knight maybe. And it's a lot of easy development, and you pretty much play the same moves every time that you play the London. So it's not really memorization on the lines so much as like memorizing a position that you have to set up. And that's what the same of these black openings that I'm going to show you, as it's pretty much just a setup. After e4 or d4, either one, this is called the Caro-Kann defense. This is what I play the most. He plays both of them, e4 and d4, to gain all the space after you play c6 and d5. Now, they'll most likely push. Sometimes they'll take. I'm not going over this opening specifically in this game, but if they do this, you put your bishop out, they'll bring their bishop out, or sometimes they'll play their knight out, push your pawn forwards. If they do put their bishop out, you're going to want to trade off. If they take back the queen, you'll push, and then you'll play c5, and you'll play your knight out, and you'll play something like queen here, and you'll want to take here in a second because your knight's defending it, your pawn is there, your queen's going on it. So there's a lot of just setup position, because you know you're going to push c6 first, and you know you want to push c5, and you know you're going to put your queen here, you know you're going to put your knight here, and your bishop's here, and your this bishop's going here, and then you're playing e6. It's a lot. Your opponent can make a move that's bad earlier, and then you can capitalize on it, and you won't make a mistake in the first 6 moves. So that's good for you. This next opening is called the French defense. It's also a setup position. Instead of c6 and d5, playing e6 and d5, and then c5 earlier. So it's pretty much a Caro-Kann with one extra move, but your bishop isn't here anymore. It's actually stuck here behind the pawns. You'll put your knight out. You'll put your other knight here. You're trying to go here. You're trying to go here. You're trying to push this pawn. Sometimes you'll take if they do not defend it. You can go queen here. And sometimes they'll move their bishop. And if your queen's here, you can go queen here and hopefully win the rook. Maybe they'll move their knight out and defend it. Then you just get a pawn. So there's a lot of free pieces sometimes in the French. So that's a good reason to play it. And it's really a setup, as well as the King's Indian defense if you want to look more into that opening. And these are things that I do not think you should be playing. First off, we have knights on the rim are grim. That's just a saying in chess, as long as don't play f3, don't play f6, because these moves weaken your king. In this position, your king is now more weak because you've pushed this pawn, and pawns cannot go backwards. So once you've pushed a pawn, you've kind of committed it. You'll see that in later middle game positions where you can commit things to do something and then you decide you don't want to do it, but it's too late and you'll lose the game because of it. But f6, you can notice that the f pawn is actually less defended. It's only defended by the king, and every other piece is actually defended by a piece. Every other pawn, is defended by a piece or the king, and this is the only one that's only defended by the king. So some are defended by 2, like the e pawn is defended by 3 even, and this one's defended by 2, 3 even. This one's defended by 4. The d pawn's defended by 4. That's pretty interesting. I never realized that before. But also, you don't want to be. A lot of beginners will do this. They'll think, oh, my rook's really powerful. I want to bring it out very early. And if you're a master, like a chess master, super good at the game, this might not be a terrible opening for you, because your opponent hasn't seen it that much, and you can go out of the known, like Roy Lopez, like they've learned all these lines. They've spent all their time learning all this theory, and then you play your rook forwards on the second move, right? But against a complete beginner, it's better to play your knights towards the center, developing your bishops, taking the center, or even not taking the center and playing a known setup position. That's why I said the London would be very strong, because it's a known setup position that is good. You can play known, kind of known, but it's not good because you're pretty much down 0.8 here already. You have to move your rook back to e3. That's the best move right now. And your rook is pretty much just a target. If they play bishop here, they're already attacking your rook, and maybe you can play d4 here. Yeah, d4 is the best move, but your rook's just going to be a target in the middle of the board. So I'd say, yeah. So f3 and f6, pretty much any time during the game, are not good moves. Pushing your rook out right at the start of the game is not generally the best idea. Knights on the rim are grim. The reason for that is because when your knight's here, it only has 4 squares it can go to, because the other 4 that it could possibly go to are cut off and they're on the side of the board over here. So it's really easy for a knight on the side to get trapped. We'll say something like this happens. Now your knight only has 2 squares and they're both here, right? So if they go here, where's your knight going, right? So you have to either make a counter threat on their knight, which you cannot do. So in this position, your knight is actually trapped, and your best move is d4. So they can take your knight, and this pawn will probably fall, but it doesn't look too good for white here, and it's really easy to trap your knight if you put it on the rim of the board. Yeah, and more basic principles, I'd say, for openings. I think I went over a couple of them in the openings, but yeah, we'll go over the King's Indian like I was talking about. They play e4. It's pretty much a systematic thing where we play d6, they'll play d4, just controlling all of the center. I would suggest playing this for white, or learning white against the King's Indian and these different openings if you're losing against them and you don't like it. And they'll put their bishop out, and sometimes they'll play the knight out, they'll play c4. You can push this pawn, they'll play their knight here, you play bishop here, and you're really just creating this every single time. And the best move is knight f3 for white here, and you're just playing, okay, it says c5 is the best move, but literally knight here is not terrible. Oh, they can play e5, so it is pretty bad. But if you play e5 here, then you're going to put your knight here, you're going to castle. Sometimes you play rook e1, and like, I'm not even that good, but I know a lot of moves in these like setup positions. And recently, myself, I have been playing in bullet games and some 3-minute games, but I've been playing like this recently. Actually, it's more like this. So I will literally give my opponents the entire center, and I will make them play against something that they have never seen before. Even if they're like this, and my pawns are forwards 1, and my knights are here, they're only a point ahead of me, and I have to make them prove that they can do it. Best move's d5, and then I'll play something like pawn here, and then I'll fianchetto my bishop, and I'll start attacking the center, put my pawn here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go here and then push this pawn to open my bishop up. But like, d6 is the best move. I don't think anyone would see d6 because it's committing this pawn too far. But maybe they would, but it's a really hard move to find. And even something as bad as this, right? You're moving your knights, both of your knights, twice in the opening. You're only pushing these pawns forwards 1, so you're not really controlling the center at all. But honestly, it's not terrible, and I've won a lot of games against very good people. Like, people who have played a lot of chess, I'm still beating them in this position because they've never seen this before, right? So they haven't memorized how to play against this, even though the computer says, oh, it's a lot better, it's almost 2 points. You can't prove that this is 2 points. You might be like, oh, this isn't good because I've never seen it before. But you have to prove that you're 2 points better. d6, castling. Just castling and not doing anything against a position where they're literally playing like this and literally just castling or playing a4. a4 is a possible move that you see. Queen d3. Literally everything is winning this position. Like bishop b3. Like there's the top 5 lines are over a point. Like this is the 5th best move, and it's literally just a waiting move. It's like, what are you gonna do? c5. That's the best move. Who would see that? I play bishop here, and the computer's gonna see something. But my opponent could make a blunder. They could overcommit. But the thing says castling, so it doesn't say d6 anymore, which is quite odd. But yeah, just wanted to go over this. The beginning of the game, beginning stages. Now that I've taught you how to move your pieces and how to checkmate, so you know the end of the game, the start of the game, and how to move the pieces now. In the next game, I'm going to be going over the middle game and tactics and why you should be doing puzzles every day if you're playing chess. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.